One of the most ambitious urban projects ever attempted in human history, the Line City, or is generally known as the NEOM project. A futuristic dream with a price tag of $2 trillion, the line in Saudi Arabia was supposed to redefine how we live, but things aren't looking as promising as they seemed in the glossy promotional videos. Why is this project failing? What went wrong with a vision that captivated millions around the world? Let's start with what the line is. Or, rather, was meant to be. The line is a city that's not a city, at least not in the traditional sense. It's a narrow, 170-kilometer-long urban structure in the middle of the Saudi Arabian desert. Just 200 meters wide but 500 meters tall, it's designed to house 9 million residents while leaving nature untouched. No roads, no cars, and no pollution. The idea is simple yet revolutionary. A high-tech metropolis built around sustainability, efficiency, and luxury. Everything you'd need, homes, offices, parks, would be within a 5-minute walk. Vertical living, automated transportation, and clean energy were key promises. Sounds like a utopia, right? Well, on paper, it does. But reality paints a very different picture. The first major issue with the line is its sheer scale. Let's be real, building a project of this magnitude in the middle of a desert is no small feat. It's not just about constructing futuristic buildings, it's about creating an entirely new ecosystem from scratch. And that costs a lot of time and money. Even with a $2 trillion budget, experts argue that the timeline is wildly unrealistic. Construction began in 2021, and Saudi Arabia claims the first phase will be ready by 2030. But the truth, building something of this scale typically takes decades, if not generations. Take Dubai, for example. It took over 20 years for Dubai to transform into the global hub we see today. And that was with significantly smaller and more practical projects. For the line to meet its 2030 deadline, construction would have to proceed at a pace the world has never seen before. And right now, it's not happening. Then there's the engineering challenge. The line's design may look sleek and futuristic, but turning that design into a reality is an entirely different story. Think about it. Constructing a mirrored structure 500 meters tall and 170 kilometers long isn't just ambitious, it's borderline impossible. Engineering experts have already raised concerns about the feasibility of building such a narrow and tall structure in a desert environment. High temperatures, shifting sands, and strong winds make the area incredibly challenging to work in. And then there's the issue of sustainability. The line promises to be fully eco-friendly, but building and maintaining a mirrored structure in the harsh desert climate would consume enormous amounts of energy. It's ironic, isn't it? A project that claims to be sustainable may end up having a massive carbon footprint during construction. But let's move on to another major problem, public skepticism. When Saudi Arabia first announced the line, the world was intrigued. Videos showing a futuristic paradise captivated millions, but as details emerged, people began questioning the practicality of the project. The first red flag, the lack of transparency. So far, Saudi Arabia has revealed very little about how they plan to execute this project. How will resources like water and electricity be supplied to a city in the middle of a desert? How will 9 million people fit into such a narrow structure? And perhaps the biggest question of all, who would even want to live there? Many critics argue that the line feels more like a marketing gimmick than a well-thought-out plan. It's part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 initiative, which aims to diversify the country's economy and reduce its reliance on oil. But some believe that projects like the line are more about making headlines than creating real change. And let's not forget the human rights concerns. Reports have surfaced about forced evictions in the area where the line is being built. Indigenous tribes have reportedly been displaced, with little regard for their rights or well-being. This has sparked outrage among activists and further damaged the project's credibility. Now, let's talk about economics. Building a $2 trillion city isn't just expensive, it's risky. Saudi Arabia is pouring billions into the line, but there's no guarantee it will pay off. For starters, attracting 9 million residents to live in the middle of a desert is a monumental challenge. Sure, the city is designed to be a tech and business hub, but why would people choose to move there when they can live in established cities with better infrastructure and fewer risks? And even if people do move, there's no guarantee that businesses will follow. Successful cities are built over time, with gradual economic growth and community development. Trying to fast-track this process with a mega project like the line could backfire. Another issue is maintenance. Let's assume, for a moment, that the line is completed on time. Even then, maintaining a city of this scale would be incredibly expensive. The mirrored exterior, for example, would need constant cleaning to prevent it from getting covered in dust and sand. And the high-tech systems running the city, they'd require continuous upgrades and repairs. All of this adds up to a massive long-term financial burden. Some experts predict that even if the line is built, it could become a financial black hole for Saudi Arabia. And finally, we have to address the social aspect. Living in the line might sound futuristic, but it also raises questions about quality of life. Imagine living in a narrow, vertical city with limited personal space and no traditional neighborhoods. Humans are social creatures, and most of us value things like open spaces, local communities, and a sense of connection to our surroundings. Can a city as rigid and structured as the line really provide that? Critics argue that the line feels more like a sci-fi experiment than a livable city. And if people don't feel comfortable living there, the entire project could collapse. So, what's the takeaway here? The line is an ambitious idea, no doubt about it. It's a bold attempt to rethink urban living and tackle issues like sustainability and overpopulation. But as of now, it feels more like a dream than a reality. The project faces enormous challenges, from engineering and economics to social and environmental concerns. And unless Saudi Arabia can address these issues, the line might end up as a cautionary tale about the dangers of overambition. So, what do you think? Is the line a revolutionary idea or just a $2 trillion gamble? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out other clips of Amazing 7 and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified our latest videos.